All
Hey
right,
Darren,
Brian, let's do
how's it
this.
going?
Yeah, it's good, brother. You?
Doing great, doing great. I got to tell you, I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this session. We got a lot of folks that have registered for this session because I think we all understand that turning a no into a yes is really important. And no, I was going to go another direction, but I'll save my question for you a little bit later. So.
Okay.
But no, really excited here. So, hey, I want to turn this over to you as quickly as possible. Let me set the stage a little bit here. This is a really popular topic. We got a lot of folks that are joining us, or some folks out there that can't join us live, but I know are going to be chiming in with us a little bit later. As you have questions, I'm going to be doing my very best to moderate some of those questions on the chat through our platform. So feel free to chime in on the chat. Some folks want to remain anonymous. So I'm going to toss our email on there as well. So if you want to drop us an email on our support line, you can ask a question that way. We tend to get more folks chime in by email than on the chat just because we want to remain anonymous, and that's okay as well. So I'll toss all that in there, but let's have a great discussion. And Darren, I'm going to hush up and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Brian. This is a good topic, and I'm blessed to work with a lot of you and a lot of salespeople across the country, and that word no comes up a lot, and because think about it, if as salespeople we're doing our job, we're going to get more no's than yeses, and it can beat you up, it can wear you down. But understanding, okay, why are we getting the no's, and how do we take the no's and begin to kind of transition those to yeses, I think is important. I just came, and it's where I'm returning to when we wrap up today. My oldest daughter teaches high school golf, and I've been a certified assistant for her the last 2 years. And so it's the final round of the year. They're in the state tournament. It's a lot of fun. And so I started my day there, and I will end my day there. And I'm blessed to get to spend the middle with you. But let me share a story, and I'll share a few with you that hopefully can help tie this together as we go through. Very first hole, a young lady hits a bad drive, chunks her second shot, leaves her third shot short, goes up, hits it on, ends up making triple on the first hole. And she's just reeling. She is just reeling. And she comes off the green and she says, I don't think I can do this today. And I said, oh, I know what you were doing. And she's like, what? I said, you were setting up your comeback. And she said, what do you mean? I said, hey, listen, you can't have a big comeback until you've had a setback. And she's like, okay, I like that. So the reality is this. Doesn't matter what you do. If you're girls golf playing in a tournament, or whether you're a salesperson in the business community, we're going to have setbacks. We're going to get told no. It's how we respond to that, how we handle it moving forward, which in many cases will dictate how the rest of our round is going to go, the rest of our day, month, or quarter. A no is something that we should expect. So let me begin right out of the gate. As I was preparing for this, in preparation for today's live event, which by the way, I hope you heard what I just said, in preparation for, anytime you're meeting with a client and you can say, hey, in preparation for our meeting today, it just sends the message to them that you did your homework. What I want you to know is that today I am prepared to try to help you move no's to yeses. So in preparation for this meeting, I was looking, doing some research and looking for certain thing I was trying to find, and honestly, I found it. And this came from a Forrester, the State of Business study that came out. 86% of purchases in the business community stall during the buying process. Think about that. 86% of everything in the sales cycle, at some point, it's going to stall out. Okay, so what does that mean? It means this: very few deals seamlessly just happen from cold call to prospect. Stalling is extremely common. So I want to begin today by saying that. It may not be a no. It may be a stall. It may be what I call that we all live in this world of waiting to hear. Stalling is part of this deal. And let me pause for a second and kind of back up with each of you. I was so excited, and I jumped in. I forgot to share something with you. I was building slides for you all, and it hit me. You know what? Today, no slides. I just want us to have a conversation. Let's just be really honest. Let's talk about this. Why are we getting no's, and how can we do a better job of turning a few no's into yeses? So today is just a real conversation between me and you. We're all getting no's. We should all get no's. Think about this. Another statistic for you. Nearly 91% of all purchases stall at some point. What's that mean? It's part of the process. I think we have to expect that stalling is going to be more common than we really want to expect. And then the final piece that I would share as we move into this, because it's important in understanding how these no's are occurring. Up to 13 people in any large organization could be touching your decision whether they're going to do business with you or not. Think about that. Up to 13 people in large companies. So the more stakeholders, the longer the process is, the more difficult, the more persistent you've got to be. I like to liken it like this. The higher the price, the bigger the ask, the bigger the item, the longer the decision-making process is. So okay, think about this one. If you realize you're out of milk, boom, you make a decision, you go to the store and you buy a gallon of milk. But if you're thinking you'd like a new living room suit, that decision takes a little longer. If you're going to buy a new car, it takes a little longer because it's a bigger item, higher priced item than the living room suit. If you're buying a home, the home takes longer than the car, than the furniture, than the milk. So the more you're asking for, the bigger the product, the bigger the item, the more likely it is to stall. And it's important that we recognize that right out of the gate. So I want to talk about, oh, by the way, as we talk about no's, hey, Brian, I know you've got a couple things prepared. I would like with whoever's willing as we're sharing and we're talking about no's, I'd like to hear what no's you've gotten recently. When has a client told you no? What do they tell you no to? As much information as you want to share. But if you would just tell us what's the no that you've got? Is it budget? We're going to talk about no budget and how to handle that. You can hit the QR or Brian, I know, so we can go to the chat or give us the options.
Yeah, no, Derron, I'm going to chime in here via audio here. So I just shared my screen. So this is a word cloud here, right? Anonymous here. So feel free to chime in on the chat, or if you want to scan the QR code or go to that URL vvox.app, enter in that ID number. What type of no's are you getting today? And Derron, there was actually some folks that hit the link early. So some of the no's that folks are getting today, or the no's are maybe, which are the ones that are stinging, right? I feel like the maybe no's are tough. Budget is one. We get that. Stall, decision maker. I'm guessing decision maker is just going up the chain. So chime in, let us know, or send us a message as well. But what type of no's are stalling you today?
Hey,
Brian, and Derron, we'll give it a little bit because we got a little bit of a lag in the system. So I'll keep this open for a bit.
Okay, Brian, and here's what we'll do. I'll keep going, but you all use any of the channels to get us the no's. And Brian, at the end, we'll bring some of these back up, and we'll just we'll hit some of these bullet form rapid fire at the end before we get you out of here. Because I will tell you, this isn't going to go long today because you're all busy. You got plenty of things to do. So hang with me. Here's what I call the 5 faces of no. Okay, the 5 faces of no, and you're going to get all these. The first one, it's no trust. Okay, we get more no's when there is no trust. And what's this mean? They don't know us yet. They don't believe in what we're saying. They got no confidence in us. We haven't made the connection. We haven't established the credibility yet. So how do we take the no trust and begin to move that to a yes? And I will tell you, the first word here is one that I think we all as a sales force in the business community, we struggle with. It's consistency. Sustained focus, I think, is what really causes us problems. How do we take the no trust and begin to move it to a yes? It's about consistently committing to the relationship. It's about being there. It's about proving to them that you know what you're talking about, you enjoy doing business with them, and you think you can help. It's about here's a big one. Stop selling and start helping. How do we take the no trust and begin to move it as we go towards a yes? Stop selling. You're like, wait, what? We're in the sales business. I know that. But if you're going to build trust and connection with your clients, You got to stop trying to sell them and you got to start helping them. It's a big part of this process, how we begin to build the trust and we earn that credibility with them. So no trust is one. Second, I call it's no need. Okay, they don't think they need you yet. They think they're fine. The reality is, in some cases, that's true. But when we just lead with our product and not their pain, we're always going to get a no when they don't see the need. Okay. And all too often, we're going in when there's no trust and we don't know their need and we're leading with our product and we're wondering why we're getting told no. If they don't know they need you, then your job is to uncover that need. Whether it's true or not, their perception is they don't need you. So, how do we take the no need and begin to turn that into a yes? It starts with this. It starts with you asking better questions. You have to find a way. So remember, the no trust is the beginning. Now we're trying to make the connection, build that relationship, earn their trust. And once we do that, now we're in a position to start asking the right questions. They don't want you telling them. They want you helping them. They don't want you telling them what they need. They want you asking how it is that you can help. So many of you have heard me give you this question. So if you haven't written down anything yet, write this down. If you've never heard me give you this question, please heed my advice here. The question you have to ask every single client you have is what's something about your business you think more people should know, but they don't. If we're going to uncover the need, all right, the way we build the trust and uncover the need, in many cases, they parallel each other because we're trying to identify, okay, how can I help? Where do you need me? And the no need in many cases is uncovered when we say, hey, what's something about your business you feel like everyone should know, but they don't? What's something about your business you feel like more people should know, but they don't? See, here's the thing. When they answer that question, boom, you've uncovered the need. So in that instance, we've taken them from no need, thinking they don't need you, to you now asking a question that uncovers something that they wish were different. So in that one question, we've uncovered the need. Now, man, I get this one a lot. It's hey, I don't have any budget, and you know what? Sometimes that's just true. Sometimes money's tight, their priorities are different. So how do we handle the budget thing? No need, or excuse me, no budget. We begin by trying to, I guess, reframe that this costs something to this is an investment. Okay, when they say they have no budget, in many cases it's because they don't know what the budget is. I would like to tell each of you that every single business out there fully understands what their budget is and how much they've spent. The reality is, in many cases, the no budget, it's just them trying to turn you away. Many cases, they don't fully understand what their budget is. Many times, as you all know, they won't tell you. If you say, so what's your budget? Well, if you just ask what's your budget and they don't fully understand, you're never going to get the response that you need to begin to move in the direction where we can start at least seeing if we can work together. So let me give a suggestion to you that will help you with the no budget or the budget situation. It's okay for you to ask, hey, listen, I understand money's tight, but I'm just curious. If I could deliver more customers to you, think about what I said there. If I could deliver more customers to you, I don't know if you'd be willing to spend $10,000 or $1,000. Well, many cases, what they're going to say is, well, I can't spend 10,000. Then you can say, so if I could put something together for a couple $1,000s that would drive traffic and deliver results and get more customers in your door, now all of a sudden you're going to find that they're going to soften off of this. Because many cases, here's what this is not just our clients, this is all of us. And this is just me being real with you. Our clients, in many cases, they think about what they're spending, not what they're getting. They think about what they're spending, not what the outcome can be. Part of what we've got to do to take a no to a yes is we got to get them focused on what the outcome can be, not just how much money they're going to spend. So there's no trust, there's no need, there's no budget. And this one, I'll tell you, this one's tough on all of us at times. It's no urgency. All right. So let me take this from two different angles. It's no urgency from our clients. They're comfortable right now. They're comfortable waiting. They don't see a reason why they should really get on board. Maybe the timing's not right. They need us to create some urgency with them. So where does their urgency come? Sometimes it's from our urgency. And when I say urgency, I have had salespeople at times say, "Oh, whoa, I'm not high pressure." Hear me. I have never been high pressure. I never teach high pressure, and I am never going to suggest that you're high pressure. But here's what I know: you creating the urgency in yourself drives your activity. Okay. When you create urgency, when they feel your urgency and your desire and your passion, and your emotion that you really want to work with them, now all of a sudden your urgency can put you in a position to ask those questions, which now changes their urgency. All right. So it's creating a reason for them to act now. Maybe it's an event. Maybe it's the season they're in. Listen, we're heading into the holidays. All right. Raise your hand. Raise your hand out there if you're finished with your Christmas shopping. Okay. I see you one out there, you weirdo. Most of us haven't even started. And some of you are finished. You know what? There may not even been a single hand. What I know is most of us haven't started, let alone being close to finish. So our clients need us to bring ideas to them. They need our urgency. They need us to, because listen, right now, if I heard or saw a good idea that to get my wife, I would go and act. I need them to seed an idea with me. So it's urgency with our clients and it's urgency with us. And then there's no understanding. And this is on us a lot of times. We're guilty of thinking our clients know more about this than us. Um, our clients tell us no at times just because they don't fully understand how to approach this. It's important to know this. None of your clients, no one in the business community decided to open a business or start a business because they had an expertise in marketing solutions. None of them got in and said, you know what, I'm going to start a business because you know what, I'm a marketing genius. No, they know how to make a great pizza. They know how to build a transmission. They know how to build a house. They're an expert in retail or clothing. What they need is they need us to help them understand how this process works. And so what they don't need is us coming in with sales peak and that sales jargon and the stuff that immediately says, ding, 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 salesperson. They need us to build the trust, to identify their need, to help them understand that it's necessary for a budget, that urgency and call to action is how this works with us and them. And they need us to help them understand that a basic principle in marketing is whatever we do, we have to help them own something. See, these are the type of conversations we need to be having with our clients. And ultimately, it's this. And I think you got to know all of this comes together uh, if there's a relationship involved. The last one is no relationship. Okay. If there's no trust, there's no relationship. So they don't fully understand what you're trying to offer or how this works. So you having a relationship frees them up to then be honest with you. Um, they don't understand yet that you really care about their business. And this is where this really starts. There has to be a relationship. Every single salesperson out there, you're all hearing no more than you want. Understand it's part of your job. Great sellers don't stop. They don't stop when they hear no. They learn from it. Many of you have heard no, a lot of no's in the last week, the last month, the last quarter, certainly. If you're doing your job this quarter, you should hear more no's than yeses. It's just the way this works. A piece of research I saw recently, and I wish I could quote exactly where I heard it from, but 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the first no. Think about that. 80% of yeses require 5 follow-ups after the initial no. We want to talk about how to turn a no into a yes. Part of that is us being willing to commit to that client. All too often, here's what happens. And you know this is true. We're all guilty of it. We ask for the business, they tell us no, we take it personally, we get upset and we go away. We go away. How you handle the no, how you handle the rejection will largely dictate your opportunity to get the business again in the future. This is, look, I told you, no slides. This is just us being real right now.
Darren, that is,
Yeah.
I wanted
Okay.
to chime in because
Okay.
somebody sent me a message via text message, and they said, that I love this. When should I, or do I, when should I walk away instead of pushing further? Because I think, that's the thing that we've talked about this a lot, that the average salesperson gives up after two touches, right?
Yep.
That it's exhausting, and not every account, but right. If we look at our biggest account spenders, most of the time we've got a lot of touches in there, right? But for why did we keep going with those individuals? It's because we kept seeing the need, or they kept dangling that. But at what point do we say, you know what, I'm going to walk away, or do we ever walk away? So I
Yeah.
just want to chime in.
No, it's a great question. And here's the reality. Usually when a client tells us no, it's because we haven't shown them our value. Usually when a client tells us no, it's because we haven't established value. The reality is this: peddlers are told no, partners are told yes. Let me say it again. Peddlers are told no, partners are told yes. When you're a peddler and when you're just saying, hey, listen, here's what I got going on right now. You need to buy this, they're going to tell you no. When you're a partner and you're investing in the relationship and you're really working on trying to get them results, you got a better chance to say yes. Now, Brian, to the question, when do I know when to walk away? Well, if you will begin to do this, and I'm gonna get to that question. But here's the reality. When they tell you no, sometimes that's your cue to just serve and not sell. Okay. When they tell you no, you need to be thinking, okay, this is on me. I haven't established value. You need to go into service road. They want a partner, not a peddler. When you hear no, think, what could I have done differently? Okay, how can I have handled this differently? When you get no, start serving it, and don't continue to push, don't continue to sell, don't continue to be that person. If they tell you no and you get to the point where it's like, okay, is it time for me to walk away? I will tell you, I think the best approach for us is be persistent until it's convenient for the client. Let me say it again. Be persistent until it's convenient for them. They're as busy as you. Don't ever doubt that they're as busy as you. But if it gets to the point where it is a no and you don't think there's anything to do right now, then leave the door open, but leave the door open with grace. Leave the door open gracefully. Okay. Never burn a bridge. I see too many situations where we get told no and we go away and we never ever come back. We don't. Let me don't burn a bridge, plant a seed. Okay. Plant a seed and take some approach that maybe still says, I totally understand. The timing's not right. But things change fast. And I'd love to be a resource for you when the time is right. Okay. Think about that. If a client tells you no, you can get mad, you can walk away, you can take it personally, you can never come back, or you can leave the door open gracefully and plant a seed by saying, hey, listen, I get it. Timing's not right. But I want to stay in touch. I'd like for you and I to continue talking. I'd like to be a resource for you so that when your need is there, that you and I can do business together. Now, here's the reality. That's just saying it. Those are words. We got to put it in action. At that point, you got to follow up. And not to repitch, not to repitch, but just to be relevant, to be a resource, to stay connected. That's how this works. All too often we're just out there leading with our price and our product. And can I tell you something? If you're just leading with price and you're just leading with product, someone can always sell it cheaper, and someone can always convince your clients that they've got a better product. But if you're leading with outcome and value, and here's what this can do for you, and okay, so think about this. If you said to a client, hey, listen, just curious, thought I'd stop by, would you like to advertise with me? And by the way, don't ever ask that question. But if you ask that question, how many people will say, yes, I was waiting for you to walk in so I could tell you yes? No, they didn't show up today thinking about doing business with you. But what if you ask this? What if I could deliver more customers to you in this upcoming season? What if you said to them this? Listen, my job for you is to keep my viewers and listeners and online readers, your potential customers, from buying what you sell in your store, is to keep them from buying it online. What if you're saying these type things to a client? Now all of a sudden you're not a peddler, you're a partner. Now all of a sudden you're not focused on your price and your product. Because listen, we're all going to be holiday hypocrites over the course of the next 3 months. Okay. Every one of you are going to have specials and packages and all this. And if you find all you're doing is leading with your price and leading with your product, you have to know that there's nothing differentiating you from everybody else out there. If you want to get more yeses than nos, be the partner. Be the one that's focused on what this can do and the customers that it can deliver and what the outcome is going to be. That's how we turn yeses from nos. Brian, I got three quick things, and then we'll open up for questions. I would like to give you what I call the feel, felt, found approach to getting no's. Okay. Think about this. If a client tells you no, you can say, hey, I understand how you feel. Others that I've worked with felt the same way. But what they found after giving me an opportunity to work with them is that it really delivered more than they expected. Okay. Think about this. Hey, no, I get it. I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way. But what I have found is when clients give me the opportunity to go to work for them, they get results they didn't expect. I'd like for you to try that. I'd like for you to try it and give us some feedback. It's feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way. But what I found is that when others give me the opportunity to go to work for them, they get results that they've never gotten. Every no is just it's a not now. It's a not yet. Every no can be next opportunity. It just can. Every no has a next. But I want you to think about this. And I really love this. And these are my final notes, and I'm going to share a story with you, and Brian will open it up for all the no's. Imagine this. You ever wonder what would happen if everyone and everything in history just took no for the answer? Think about it. If everyone took no, there'd be no electricity, no airplanes, no iPhones, no internet, because every breakthrough, every invention, every dream started with someone being told no. No, you can't. No, you shouldn't. No, it won't work. A veteran salesperson telling a new salesperson, don't call on them because they'll never do anything. You know it happens, and we've all heard it, and some of us have said it. But the great ones, the innovators, the leaders, the salespeople who hit their goals, they did it when others said it was impossible. They didn't take no as a wall. They looked at a door that they just hadn't looked as a door they hadn't figured out how to open yet. When a customer says no, they're not rejecting you. Don't take it personally. They're saying, I don't understand yet. I'm not ready yet, or I don't trust you enough to do business with you yet. Our job is to keep following up. It's to do it with patience, with value, and confidence until no turns into a let's talk. At some point, the no's are going to turn into, well, I got a question for you. Or what if we did this? Or I was thinking about that. You're seeding all of this as you're getting no's. If we all took no for an answer, there'd be no growth, no change, no discovery. Every dream would quietly die in the corner of comfort. See, when someone tells us no, we revert to our comfort corner a lot. Okay. Be uncomfortable with this. Okay. Be uncomfortable. When we choose to hear no and keep moving, y'all, that's when the magic happens. That's when momentum really builds. That's when leaders lead and salespeople sell, and we all rise above the average that so many of us are settling for. So the next time you hear no, listen, you hear that no, don't you flinch. You just smile and know it's the beginning of a yes. And recently I went to dinner, and I had an appetizer and I had a meal, and I was full. And my server came out with a dessert tray. And the dessert said, could I tempt you with some dessert? And I said, thank you very much. But listen, I'm full. I'm not interested. And then my server said, hey, I get it. I get it. I understand. I know how you feel. But then a server said, but I got to tell you, I don't know if you like cheesecake. This cheesecake, it is made fresh here. That raspberry sauce is made fresh here. And by the way, our most popular dessert is this chocolate, 3-layer chocolate piece of cake. And I'm telling you, I get that you're full. I understand how you feel. But what I've found is when others said, yeah, bring it to me. And listen, you can even take it home. I can put it in the go box for you. But one of the things that people love most about us is our desserts. And I just wanted to make sure that I gave you the opportunity. So here's what happened. I told this, by the way, this was a salesperson. I told this salesperson no. But then this salesperson let me hear their passion. They let me feel their belief in how good their desserts were. Okay, they help sell me on the benefits and the outcome of how it's going to taste, and even if I take it home. So yes, I bought 2 pieces of dessert. We ate one at the table, and we took one home, and that was only because that server didn't hear no. That server heard me say, "I'm not sure." Followed up with the passion and the belief, and that sold me. So next time you hear no, don't you flinch. You smile and know it's leading you to something. It may be a piece of cheesecake, or it might be the biggest order you've ever had in your life. Brian, let's take some questions. Let's talk about some no's before we get out of here.
No, this is great, and I've had again some emails come in. Actually, Jen's monitoring some things as well. She sent me a couple as well. Darren, you pump me up too, right? I mean, we chat internally all the time, and I think honestly, I think we all need to have the permission to reset.
Yeah.
I think this needs to be kind of your permission to say, you know what, reset your mind, because sometimes when we're getting no's, we got a lot of folks on here. We got a lot of folks that are logged in. We got a lot of folks that are guests as well. And I think that when we're getting no's, and it seems like waves. And it just feels like it's just pounding us and pounding us and pounding us. And we're just hoping for a yes. We're hoping for the good news. And we've all been in those shoes, right? You get a yes, you jump out of your seat, and you're just pumped, right? I think this is a perfect opportunity to say, this is your permission to reset. Because you know what? Nobody else is going to do it, but I think we should do it, to say, reset your brain, reset your attitude, because nobody else is going to, nobody else out there is going to give you that permission to reset your brain on that. So again, we get it. We understand what you're going through. So I think that's great. Again, we've had folks ask. There was a question actually on the chat that said, what do you do when somebody says we don't have a budget? I think you've tackled that one a little bit, but it's tough. It's a stall, and I think sometimes we also need to reframe a little bit of, what is that budget, right? What is the ask there?
Okay, here's the
Go
reality.
ahead.
The no budget in many cases, it's the client's go-to. That's
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
they go first. I don't have any money. Okay. What that says is, listen, they don't have money to buy your stuff. They don't have money because they don't trust you yet. They don't have a budget because they don't understand what we're doing. They don't have a budget because they don't feel the urgency or the need. The no budget in many cases is that you haven't uncovered it. And here's the reality. We generally go to what's your budget too quickly. If we go to the budget question after we've uncovered a need, now all of a sudden it's about how much are you willing to invest in this versus how much they think they're going to have to spend. Focus on their need. When you ask that question, what's something about your business you feel like more people should know, but they don't? When they answer it, I promise you, in that moment, there's more money to address that need than before you ask the question. So if we're prematurely asking what their budget is before we know what their need is, then it's a problem. And my experience has been, Brian, that we go to the budget question before we're ready to.
I agree, and some of this, I actually recently sat in on a presentation with a partner of ours, and she was really talking about the value of the client and really understanding, what does a lead, what does a customer, a new customer, matter to a place of business, right? So what are the product or service that they are selling, and how much are they willing to invest to bring in a new piece of business, right? So we always say, like, oh, well, hey, we'll bring you new customers, and we'll get more people walking in the door, or we'll have them grab another product off the shelf. What is that value worth
Hey,
to
hey,
them?
Brian,
And then
Brian,
paint that picture.
prime example. this morning I'm at the golf course early. For those of you that are joined late, my daughter coaches high school golf, and I'm helping. We have a final big tournament today, and so I was there this morning. I'm going back as soon as we're finished. There were two grandparents. They were older folks. They were there and they were buying tickets. And I heard the grandfather say, $15 for a ticket. And you could tell he was thinking, well, I didn't expect, because usually you don't have to pay to show up, but state tournament you do. And his wife, the grandmother, said, how much is it worth you to watch your granddaughter play golf? And he never said another word. He never said another word, because in that moment, he went from how much it's costing him to what he's going to get out of it. And that's what we got to help our clients see. It's not just what they're paying. It's not just what they're spending. It's what they should expect in return.
I agree. And sometimes I think that we also need to do a better job of positioning our existing clients to potential advertisers. And what I mean by that is, right, we all know, these big advertisers within our communities, right? We all know our top spenders, our middle spenders, and our low spenders, right? And I think painting that picture of our clients on air that folks are used to, of saying, well, hey, let me tell you about, such and such plumbing company, right? Yes, oh my gosh, of course I know that plumbing company. They spend so many dollars within my marketplace. But yeah, let me give you an idea of what they spend on a monthly standpoint, right? But they're out there, right? I think if we can give them an example of, hey, I'm going to use a Kansas City example, right? Bob Hamilton Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, right? They spend a lot of money in Kansas City, but everybody knows of them, right? Their first preference. But I think if we can do a better job of positioning that company, what their average spend is on a monthly basis, it kind of gets the aha moment, as opposed to, oh, I don't have any money. Position the story, the understanding of, well, hey, if you want to be on that level, you're going to want to spend here, right? If you want to be on this level, you're going to want to spend here. And you know what? We can still move the needle down here, just not going to be as quick. But if we can position it that way, it helps the wheels.
Brian, it's okay for our clients to start small and build, as long as we establish realistic expectations with them. That, listen, it is a slower build here than if we're there, but it's okay to start small and slow and grow as we go. Hey, Brian, so I know we're getting up against it, but any more no's that came in that I could address, or any other?
I did. Yeah, you know what? I closed it. I mean, we've got, just a general stall. I don't see the value. Too expensive. Expensive. I'm spending elsewhere. Budget. We're cutting back. Decision maker. We don't do radio. We don't do media. Gatekeeping. Not covered by co-op, and ghosted. And
all of those things, in many cases that you just mentioned, are a result of a lack of trust, a lack of relationship, and a lack of understanding. Okay, if they say it's too much, it's too expensive, or I don't do this, it's because we're just trying to sell them our stuff. If we're focused on what this can do for them, I'll share one quick story with you. I was working with a big car dealer recently, and I said, "Tell me about the salespeople that call on you." And this car dealer said, "Honestly, I really struggle with them." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Because they only show up when they have something to sell me. They rarely show up when they're focused on how they can help me." So think about this. You want to get more yeses and less nos. You want to take people telling you no and turn them to a yes. It's got to be about you investing in them. It's got to be about you committing to building the relationship and being consistent with. They've got to see you there. They've got to see you out in the community. It's so important for you to begin to become that person that they view as a resource and not just a rep. Okay. Ooh, that was good. As I said outside, listen, do you want to be a rep, or you don't want to be a resource? People who are a resource are being told yes. People who are just a rep are being told no. If we want to turn the no's to the yeses, you've got to go from being a rep like everybody else, becoming a resource and a partner for them. And I don't know a better way to say that.
I love that, and I think it's consistency and it's time, and sometimes that hurts to hear and say, because it's like, well, I don't have the time, right? But you do. You got to build that momentum. Derron, one thing I wanted to chime into you on a comment that you had made earlier too was, when do we give up, right? Do we give up? And I would make the case, never. Never. If somebody tells me no, two things that I always do, and I'm a big email, digital media, video type of person. If somebody tells me no, hey, not today, right? The first thing that I do is when should we follow back up? I go into my email and I schedule an email to them. Hey Bob, it's been 3 months since we last connected. Just wanted to reconnect, and I schedule it right there from Outlook. Right, that way I don't have to think about it again. I can jot a note in my notebook, but it's done. I'm not going to waste the time again. I will, for the right person, but I'm going to go into my email. I'm going to schedule it out so that follow up is already done. Right? Maybe the step further is record a video on your phone. Right? Hey Bob, it's Brian. We connected a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago. I'm recording a quick message from my phone. Hey, I'm right here at the station. Look how cool this is, right? Boom, email that again. Go just try to speed up that
Brian,
sales cycle as fast as possible. Yeah.
And a perfect approach there is the feel, felt, found. Hey, listen, thinking about our conversation, I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same. But what I found is when they gave me the opportunity, they got more out of it than they expected. Is a perfect way. It's empathy, it's understanding, it's feel, felt, found. Understand how you feel. Others have felt the same, but they found when they gave me an opportunity to go to work for them, they received more than they expected.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's exactly right. We got to break through that clutter as much as possible. Be different, and I can tell you, the average is still giving up after 2 touches. And I think I said this on a call not too long ago. We don't have to necessarily close on the first touch or the second touch, right? That is not the goal. Right? That's not the goal whatsoever. But be better than 2. Be better than 2. Make that your goals. You know what? I know it takes more than 2 touches, so I'm going to follow up at least 5 to 10 touch with every single prospect that's on my list. And go out about that way. So, Derron, we do have some other questions here. Some of these I think we've covered. Perfect, right? Always chime in, right? In addition to the content that you've got on 10 Minute Trainer Network, you and Speed are constantly doing the Speed and Swagger show. Man, you guys are coming up on your 200th episode, which is hard to believe. That's a lot of talking there between the two of you. So feed us those questions. This is stuff that we want to cover each and every week. We're on the streets, we're on the ground as much as possible. So, Derron, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you have any little bit of closing words here.
Final thought, I would say, I had someone recently ask me that they said, how do I have the confidence that you have? And well, I didn't get this confidence overnight. And my response to them was this: listen, I can't give you my confidence based on the years I've done this to the fact that you're fairly new to this. What I would tell you is this: let your confidence come from your commitment to the process. Let your confidence come from the fact that you're going about this the right way, that you're not just selling your stuff, that you're investing in them and their needs and trying to make that connection and build that trust and earn that credibility so that they know you're working for them and not just working for you. Let your confidence come from the way you're doing business more than anything else. And then I would leave you with this. Remember that server that I said no. What sold me on buying dessert was their passion, their energy, their ability to help me see that I didn't want to leave without tasting their cheesecake. Your clients need to feel your energy. They got to feel your spirit. They got to feel your passion. And they got to feel your deep, deep desire to help them get results for their business. If that's your guiding light, I will tell you, you're going to get more yeses than you've been getting. But the honest answer is this: if you're doing your job well, you're always going to get more no's than yeses. But hopefully today we've helped you kind of lean a little bit more towards a few more yeses and a few fewer no's. Listen, for me, always enjoy being with you. As Brian said, get us the information, email us, chat. My email is swaggerinstitute@gmail.com. You're welcome to reach out to me personally. And Brian, look forward to doing this again. So, all right, I'm back to the golf course to help some young ladies try to finish off a season. But appreciate you all, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Swagger on.